Hello guys, it's D to the B here, and today I'm going to be watching Scoob, a movie that I was excited for, kind of, and going to review it. I even got a disc from Redbox, like the stands or whatever, you get my point, to watch the movie, so I'm going to watch it real quick. I'll tell you guys what I think about it after I'm done. Ugh. I'm really gonna have to review this, aren't I? So, to let you know, I've seen this movie twice. And they're basically the same opinion. This movie is not very good. There are some parts of the movie that are forgivable in certain areas, but the majority of the movie is a waste of time and is so stupid that will make your mind blow up. Now let's get into this weird train wreck. Let's start with the story. Spoiler alert if you really care about this film and you want to watch it. If you want to see my rating, I will leave it in the end and put a time card of when to fast forward. So the movie begins with Scooby stealing a food product from a concession stand back, I'm guessing, the 70s when he was a little puppy. It sure looks like the 70s or the 60s by some of the promos. And this cop is going after him because he stole a food product. I don't know why someone like animal control wouldn't take care of that, because isn't that their job to take care of strays? Then we get to also bump into younger Shaggy. And it's weird because he has this iPhone type looking thing. And it's just so weird seeing him with that. Just having him have this iPhone type thing in a timeline possibly the 70s is just weird. The only reason the movie did this was to keep the younger viewers in their seats and not going like, what's a flip phone? Or something like that. And it just makes the timeline seem weird, because no kid wants to see their movie apparently nowadays with a flip phone. I remember growing up with flip phones, even though I'm from the 2000 era. My brother had one, and I knew what that was, but our generation has gotten weirder with things like the floor is lava, for example, or TikTok, or Fortnite. It's just like they're trying to get into these trends to make sure it's still cool and hip-hop with the kids. But then there are random appearances of franchises like Harry Potter, for example. There's a Harry Potter reference in this movie, and it's weird. And, well, the majority of this movie is weird because there's also a dab reference in here, which, if you don't know, I hate dabbing. I think it's very stupid, like TikTok and the majority of modern trends. But let's get into the rest of the story of this weird movie. So then we get to go back from Shaggy to young Scooby getting chased by this cop on a bike, and Scoob basically just escapes and hides in some sand. And then we get to find out that Shaggy is alone, even though we didn't get that picture in the beginning and the trailer. So, why make this reference? And then Scooby, after hearing Shaggy's sad story, goes out, sees Shaggy, and then they eat sandwiches together, which has a bunch of weird stuff in it, and it just makes me want to throw up. But Then later, after enjoying their sandwiches, they get stopped by the weird biker cop. And then we just get this weird gag of Shaggy making up a name for Scooby, starting with snacks. I'm not joking, this is actually in the movie. And then it transitioned to the iconic name, Scooby. Then his middle name, Doobie, and his last name, Doo. I'm not sure if this is actual official name, but I guess it's one way to do that, or something like that. I don't know. This movie's complicated. Then the officer just says, well, I can't argue with that. He has a middle name. Which I just went, what? And basically, for like 10 minutes, I was just saying, what? Because that was the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life, ever. Just being okay for an animal to steal a food item and then get away with it because he has a middle name. That's not how it works. At least the kid has to pay for it. Granted, the kid probably has no money. Or at least tell the guy who made that, have the kid apologize. That's what I would do. And it's just so stupid that they let him get away because he has a middle name. Now that just makes me think, wow, I need to shove a middle name in somewhere and then I'll get away with anything. Thanks, movie, for telling me that I can get away with anything as long as I have a middle name. Thank you. Thanks, movie. You're very smart. And of course, I am being sarcastic. Like, think about it. Think about that employee who had to work so hard in making that. I know it's not a valid argument of the rest of the movie, but I just want to bring that up. That guy worked so hard on that thing, probably, unless it's store-bought, and then it just gets stolen by a dog, and nothing happens. Nothing. No sorry, no. You have to go pay the guy to get all the materials for the new one, just he has a middle name, so he can go past. Anyway, let's fast forward. Then we get to see Scoob going with Shaggy and adopting Scoob from the street. One thing that my mom mentioned real quick before I forget, she said, how come Shaggy isn't freaked out by Scoob talking? Because she certainly would, she said. I said, there is a deleted scene like that in the movie because I watched the bonus stuff. But now getting off of that topic, I just wanted to mention it real quick. Then we get a transition after Scooby's adopted by Shaggy without any official papers or anything like that. To let you know, there's a fan in the background if you're wondering. But now let's continue. Then Scoob and Shaggy go trick-or-treating, which they meet generic bully characters. My mom has opinions on these generic bully characters, but that is possibly a video for another day. Maybe I will get her on so she can explain her frustration with these characters and how they are cheesy and lame. But anyway, continuing with the story. Then after getting terrorized by bullies and getting his candy thrown into a haunted house, quote, and he meets Fred, Velma, and Daphne, which are also in costume. Wonder Woman, a knight, and Judge, I can't remember her name. And we get a Harry Potter reference, as I mentioned earlier. But now, let's continue with the main story. Then they go into the haunted house. They meet up with the ghost. Then they cut down the wire of the ghost. I'm trying to go fast as much as I can. Then they get the guy arrested. Then we get a Walmart reference because the guy's been apparently stealing a bunch of stuff for like his personal self or a mini business. And then he makes this famous quote, "I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids," as always, but he's interrupted by a door getting slammed in his face. And then he goes to jail, I'm presuming. And then they decide, hey, let's do this mystery stuff. And Shaggy's like, yeah, sure, how many monsters could there be? And here's something I have a problem with. So if they started as little kids, like I had to say maybe 8, 9, 10, just guessing, how come their parents would let them get away with something like this, including if there was a psycho person involved with this mystery? I would be like, no, you are never doing something like that again. I'm glad you're okay, but if you do something like that, you're grounded. But that's just what I would have done. Then we get a transition of every single mystery they did, which was nice. It was nice to see old Scooby-Doo moments and a theme song edit like the Inspector Gadget movie opening, even though that movie sucked. Hey, they have something in common, but I think Scoob is better than that Inspector Gadget movie. Anyway, they appear at a restaurant and they get to meet Simon Cowell. You know, the guy from America's Got Talent? Yeah, this guy is in here. And he basically tells Scooby and Shaggy that they suck, they're useless, and that just makes them all upset. And they go to a bowling alley where they're hunted down by transforming bowling pins and bowling balls / scorpion things. And at one point they impersonated takeout people, not the robots, but Shaggy and Scoob. And they buy it until Shaggy says, we're out of calamari, which is so stupid because why would a robot care if you have calamari or not? They don't eat. Sorry, I had a stutter there for a second. Then continuing on, they run again, head into the back of a bowling alley, and then get abducted by, makes you think first, an alien saucer. And turns out to be the Falcon Fury, Blue Falcon, Jessica Skies, I can't remember her name, and Dynomutt save them because a guy named Dick Dastardly is after them. Which, yes, a bunch of characters that Hanna-Barbera made back in some timeline, I can't remember. They're all just shoved into one movie, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're trying to do the cinematic universe, or they would have, but I don't think a lot of people cared about this movie, or saw this movie, or liked this movie, where they decided probably, you know what, we don't need another installment of this Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. And to so many people, this movie being so forgettable, they even took off the rent option on Vudu. Vudu. It could make sense because I got this on Redbox. I just wanted to bring that up real quick. But now, let's get back to the main story. Then meanwhile, Fred, Daphne, and Velma all went to find out what happened to Shaggy and Scoob, where they also acquire one of the robot bowling ball transforming bowling pin thingies. They transform into a lot of things. Some people compare these things to the minions of Despicable Me, which I can mostly see it, but it's like they shoved a bit of minions into the recipe, then put Transformers involved, then Scorpions, then bowling balls and bowling pins, and just shoved them all together and bam, you got these things. Which, I don't get why they have an adorable mode. Probably to get some toys sold. You know what, these are kind of like the Minions a little bit, but I don't know. But that's a topic for another day. So, then, the Falcon Fury is chased by Dick Dastardly's crew. They get away. Dick Dastardly, punishes one of the robots for letting them get away by tearing his head off and throwing it into a furnace, which it should be dead after that, getting your head ripped off. But this is a cartoon, so everything's alright. And then just putting a vacuum cleaner on the robot's head. I'm just surprised that it has all the wires to sneeze and interact still, because a vacuum and a robot body have two different functions, and you didn't see him opening up the vacuum and just connecting the wires. He just into it, just plopped it in there. And then after that, we get a transition of the Falcon Fury crew just heading out to find the next skull, because Dick Dastardly found the skull, which also I forgot to mention. Fred, Velma, and Daphne discover that Dick Dastardly is the main villain that stole him because of the robots and his hair, make a Netflix joke, and they're on the road to go stop him. Then, basically after that, they discover where the next skull is, or so they thought, until they discover where they went was a carnival. Yes, a carnival. An abandoned carnival. And then they discover it's a trap. Which also, the person who got them into this because they were stupid is Blue Falcon. Which I want to bring up Blue Falcon real quick. Who is casted by one of the famous actors and best known for the best human character in Transformers history, Mark Wahlberg. Yes, he was involved with this movie, and I'm surprised he is involved with this movie, because he doesn't seem the type to act like this. How come in this movie Blue Falcon is a buffoon? I get it, it's his adult son, which, if he's an adult, why would it matter of him trying to step up to his dad? Wouldn't he have learned the lesson of already, don't be like those before you, try to be someone different and try to prove on their mistakes? Just saying. Who knows, I could be wrong about that, but I just wanted to bring it up. Then we get a scene where it's basically like Whack-the-Mole with the robots. Then Dick Dastardly comes and he just tells Shaggy, I don't care about you, you're not remotely important, it's the dog I need. Which then we discover Scoob is the key to unlock the underworld. I'm just gonna fast forward here. They get away, after a bumper car chase and a roller coaster chase. And then, basically, after that, Dick Dashley discovers that Scoob's friends are on the road. Then, after we discover Scooby's important, they make a super suit for him. They have to get rid of the collar for the suit, which Shaggy acts like a big baby in this movie. One complaint I have to have with this movie is Shaggy is so unbelievable in this movie. He is so selfish in the movie. He whines, calls him, basically tells him in a whisper voice he has a big ego and a big head, and then they have a fake argument. And then Dick Dashley grabs the skulls, has all three of them now. Blue Falcon and Fred have a fight after the ship gets destroyed, and just leads up to this lesson of friends will improve everything. And they even in the end, which I'm going to spoil real quick because I want to be done reviewing this movie, it just ends with, or almost ends with, Shaggy just disappearing because it just decides to do something stupid and basically says one person needs to be on the outside to lock it and the inside. So one person has to go into the gate and one has to be out to lock it. So it takes one person to open it, but it takes two people to unlock it. That makes no gosh darn sense. You may as well just said, hey, you need two people to unlock it and two people to lock it. Like, make up your mind, movie. And then we get this fake out with Shaggy being gone forever, which would have worked if it was executed right. If Shaggy did it to close the gate while Scoob and the rest of the crew go after Dick Dashley to make sure he doesn't get away with the gold that they stole, so they can save the world from him, and then wanting Shaggy to come back after that. Not, like 2 minutes after he sacrificed himself, they get a statue of Alexander the Great, just saying that you can just bring Shaggy back. Just that. And then Shaggy just comes back like nothing happened. Like, what's even the point of the fake out if it's only going to be like 2 minute fake out? What's the point? Granted, movies do this a lot. They do. But sometimes you can execute a fake out very well. And then there's sometimes where you're like, now what was even the point of that? Like the Rise of Skywalker, for example. I'm gonna spoil this, but in the movie, Rey dies. And then we get this image of Rey being dead after killing her grandfather. Which in the movie, Palpatine clearly said, "Strike me down and I will possess you." And then he gets killed. And then she just dies instead of getting possessed by Palpatine. But nope. Then it turns out, like 4 minutes after that, he revives Rey, Kylo Ren dies, and then bam, movie over after the stupid Rey Skywalker thing. But getting that out of the way, then we get to see Dick Dashley and his dog, Muttley, which was trapped in a different dimension. I forgot to mention that. Getting taken back to Scooby and the gang. So what was the point of them running with the gold? Fred or something like that could have just ran in front of Dick Dashley and Muttley to make sure he didn't get away, and then they would have put the gold back and then did the whole ending thing and bam, movie over. Then we get this joke of Simon Cowell being the villain, but then we get another joke of Dick Dastardly being Dick Dastardly. So it's a double unmasking joke. That means it's funny. Ha ha ha. Then they go to jail. They get a new mystery machine because the old one blew up. I forgot to mention that. And then we got a America reference. I almost said Rex for a second. Then we get a Mystery Inc. building, and then it just ends like a Marvel movie, just without the end clip. So, yeah, that's the whole movie. And it is not good. Forgivable in certain areas, here and there, but the movie is not good. Like, I wanted to like this movie. I have always wanted an animated Scooby-Doo movie because I didn't care about the live-action movies. I wanted an animated movie that could execute the world very well. Not saying the live-action ones were bad, but I didn't care. Certain people like those movies. I'm not one. I don't care. I don't think Scooby-Doo should be in live action ever. My opinion. And in the end, this movie did terrible. So much could have been done, but was executed terribly. And now, usually, I would blame the director for everything because of his stupid motives and ideas that ruin the franchise. But it's not really ruined, and I don't think it's the director's fault. I think it's the fault of the company, Warner Brothers. Yes, it is their fault. They probably forced this cinematic universe of Hanna-Barbera characters to cash in on what Marvel succeeded at. And the third time's the charm, it didn't work. DC was alright for me. The Lego movies were also alright. The only one I didn't care for is Lego Batman. And then also this universe, which will most likely be discarded because the movie is so forgettable and no one wants a cinematic universe of these Hanna-Barbera characters. Maybe slipping in Easter eggs of the other Hanna-Barbera characters would have been more funny. Fans could have pointed out the Hanna-Barbera character. It was perfect. It would be perfect if that happened. But in the end, we got a stupid Marvel rip-off cash cow thingamajig. I don't know what to call this movie. It's so bad. And now it's time for the rating of this movie. I have to give it 4 out of 10. Where it isn't bad, and where it isn't good either. It is forgettable. It's not forgivable at some points. It's just not a good movie. I can give credit to where the director wanted to go with the movie. He appears to be a fan, and the crew did enjoy making this movie. Which, I'm glad they enjoyed making the movie, because I didn't enjoy watching it. And I feel bad for those who watched this movie, or I feel bad for the director who worked so hard and it didn't turn out well in the end. He did try. This is the most decent installment of a Scooby movie. And I may as well mention my mom and brother's reviews as well, because they're not going to come on this channel. My mom said it was alright. She expected the movie to be stupid, being how it looked. And my brother also said it was alright. But I am not one who thought it was alright. I thought it was good in certain areas, but it failed in a lot of areas. But I probably should go before I make a fool of myself and start gobble, gobble, gobble. Just, I'm just gonna leave. I'm tired. I wanna stop reviewing this movie. Have a nice day, all of you. And tell me what you think of the movie Scoob, the failure of the cinematic universe. This is D to the B signing off.